And let's talk about it right now. We are at AT&T. I'm Courtney with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? We are here for another edition of Tag Nation. We had to jump on real quick. Obviously, a lot of things going on in the NFL, so we just wanted to hit it real fast. But hey, again, make sure if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you follow us. We're going to be hitting this thing. We're just hitting the ground running. We're going to get this NFL season started before you know it. But a lot to go over. Jimmy D, a lot of it's going to be about your Falcons. You know, we had the big trade with Matt Ryan, so let's kick it off. But before that, if you guys did not watch our live show with Kelly K9, all about the Cowboys, if you're a Cowboys fan, you've got to make sure you check it out. And one last plug: if you're an NFL fan and you love to hear the old NFL, we had a great interview with Raiders legend Rod Martin. You don't have to be a Raiders fan to enjoy it. He had a lot of insight to his past and his playing days. 2 Super Bowl championships, beating the Eagles and Redskins. That wasn't too bad either. So anyway, let's jump into it, Jimmy, because it's about the Falcons and Matt Ryan. What's your instant reaction when you heard the news?
So before we get to that, remember 1,000 subscriber on YouTube. Let us get there, and there's a prize. So make it happen.
Prize.
Matt Ryan
for the Cowboys cave.
That's right. So last week I saw the writing on the wall when they were trying to get Watson. It was all out there. It was no holds barred. I said, and you and I were talking behind the scenes. They were definitely burning the bridge. Matt Ryan was a professional. I think that they between Terry Fontenot and Arthur Blank, they showed a complete lack of respect for Matt Ryan. And at the end of the day, once the Watson deal didn't go down, I mean, obviously at that point Ryan was gone anyway. I had a little bit of hope that he might stay, but we got a third rounder for him. The bottom line is this: we only gained $9 million in cap space this year. We have $60 million of dead money this year, 40 of which is Matty Ice, 14 of which is Julio. So We have all that money for guys playing elsewhere. I guess basically we're in a rebuild this year. We picked up Mariota. I think that Matt Ryan has a really good chance. And look, now, obviously I'm a Falcons fan, and I apologize the other day to my Falcons friends. I got a little emotional. I threw the helmet across the room during the Cowboys State of the Union show, and I was a little emotional, but I am a Falcons fan, and I always will be. But, if I'm going to pick an AFC team this year that I want to win, I'd really love to see Matty Ice get that ring on his finger.
Well, that would pain me because, one of our good friends is a Colts fan, so I do not want to see that happen at all. No offense to you. I got to hear that mouth. We actually do play the Colts at AT&T, so that game's going to take on a whole new meaning because the Colts, they were a quarterback. I think they were a quarterback away from really making a run. And Wentz, in crunch time, if you're a Cowboys fan or Eagles fan or NFC fan, you've seen that story before. In crunch time, he crumbles. And he's probably a great guy.
That's what he looked like in crunch time, baby.
Choke. And now we get to see it more because he's back in the NFC East, so we get to see it a couple more times. So I welcomed him back with open arms. But I think the Colts with their running game, the only thing, if there's a weakness for them, is going to be the receivers, and that's where you find out, can the quarterback elevate the receivers, or is it the receivers elevating the quarterback? So it's going to be interesting to see because Ryan's a top-notch quarterback, so he should be able to get them a little bit better. They didn't, for the Colts, they didn't give up a lot, third rounder, and it goes back to some of the stuff we talked about before, and it's the eating that money. They're taking on the contract after all that other money that, the Falcons are going to be relieved. There's a lot of cap space come next year. They're going to have a lot of money to spend where the Colts are taking it on. So that's where some of that came in, where they probably didn't get the value. Plus his age. He's an older quarterback. Watson's much younger. So, yes. He's still there. But Matt Ryan's got some years. He's got plenty of years left. You see the age of these quarterbacks and how long they're playing. He's definitely got some time left.
Well, and I think that there's an upgrade in the offensive line between what we had for him and the Colts, and he's got a beast of a running back behind him. I mean, I've always said, and I think you agree, the run sets up the pass.
Oh yeah.
So Taylor's a beast as a running back. You got Matty Ice throwing. I think regardless, I think that will elevate the receivers.
Yeah, and so that'll go us a little further. So the news that broke today, which I was surprised. And it seemed like, unlike Cowboy fans were pretty distraught over Amari Cooper. There was a lot of stuff. I didn't see much. I don't know. It seemed like the Chiefs fans were like ready to let him just go. But Tyreek Hill, it was like a whirlwind. He heard the news, and then in 2 seconds he was traded. So there must have been something. There had to have been something cooking, because then he signed a contract shortly after. But the Dolphins give up the farm for a receiver who's a great receiver. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's a game breaker. But they, to do one better, they signed him to a 4-year, $120 million or $30 million a year. I think that makes him the highest paid. I think that beat out Devontae Adams, which I think Adams is a better receiver. But it's that, the next man up gets the most money. So I guess Amari Cooper's contract doesn't look too bad. Looking back, maybe we should have kept him. But what's your thoughts of that? And I mean, I've never seen so much given up for receiver. Usually this is something, you get for a quarterback or something like that. But for a receiver, they gave up a lot.
They did. First, it's like Dolphins fans. Oh, what a bunch of dummies. I mean, first of all, well, I'm going to take one step back too. The Jets thought for an hour, and I live here in the New York City area. They thought for a 30-minute to 60-minute span that they were getting Tyreek Hill, and who wants to go to that losing team? But anyway, I'm gonna get back to kind of an analogy I made a few weeks ago when Russell Wilson ended up in Denver. I said, "Who's he throwing to?" Okay, this is kind of the reverse, right? Who's throwing to Tyreek Hill? A couple weeks ago, I talked to 2 Dolphins fans long before this trade was thought of, who were questioning whether or not Bridgewater would be playing starter at some point this season. So who is to him, right? And I just think that they gave up way too much. I mean, 5 picks. Where they give up a first rounder this year, a second rounder this year, total of 5 picks.
5 picks, I think first, second, third, or first, second, fourth, and then 2 the following year. But first and second is premium picks, and especially it's receiver deep draft this year, which we'll get on in a later show. But it's a lot, and it's a lot to give up. And then you're talking about the contract that you gave him. He's a great receiver. That's a lot of bread, man. That's a lot.
It is. They picked up 2 receivers in free agency, but again, who's throwing to him? I wouldn't have faith in Tua. And Bridgewater, he's a clock manager. He's a field manager, if you will. I mean, honestly, I do think Bridgewater will be the starter at some point this season. But
and
to spend all that money when you don't have a quarterback that plays at a higher level, that other level of the game, I just think it was a foolish move.
Yeah, and they do have some receivers. I mean, you got Waddle. They obviously signed Cedric Wilson from the Cowboys. That's a pretty deadly trio they got, and of course they got their tight end. They signed a couple running backs. So they're putting together, I hate to say it, living in Florida, they're putting together a pretty good roster. But I think they're going to be the conversation of a quarterback away. So, they made some signings in the right places. I know there was talk of maybe they were going to make a run at Watson. That never really, materialized down in Miami. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's really going to see. I know the fans got to be pumped up. Oh, Tyreek's a game changer. We got a comment. Go Dolphins. Well, hey, if you're a fan, I'll say this, and I'm just going to be straight up. If you're a fan, you're going to love it. If you're a fan of the Dolphins, I remember I hated T.O. Hated him, despised him. Man, when he came to the Cowboys, I was the biggest T.O. fan. I had the jersey, he'd thrown the popcorn when he was doing it. I loved him. Because, you want same thing with Dion. Dion, he was with the Falcons, and I remember he got one over on us and when he was with the Falcons, and he goes to the 49ers, and then and they beat us in the championship game with a terrible non-call for pass interference on Michael Irvin. We all know we all know that was PI. He'll never admit it to this day, but I hated him. But when he came to the Cowboys, man, I got the 21. I'm high stepping in the end zone. So I get the excitement. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm excited.
That reminds me when you talk about Dion against Dallas, Saints get ready to play Chicago.
That was
Jimmy
the game.
Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
All pissed off in the press conference. But you're excited. When you get a big time player, big name player, you're going to be excited. But reality is going to set in for Dolphins fans, around week 3 or 4, when things aren't looking so good, because you ain't got nobody to throw to.
And for how is Tyreek Hill going to handle if he runs into those issues? Because Tyreek Hill's been a benefactor of having Patrick Mahomes thrown to him. So I mean, you got one of the best in league throwing you the ball. Now you got one of the bottom 10 throwing you the ball. And this, again, we talked about with Matt Ryan, this will be another case. Do the receivers make the quarterback look good, or is the quarterback making the receivers look good? Because now the Dolphins have the weapons. If the quarterback is not successful, there's it's going to be on him. If the receivers aren't successful, these are guys who were successful in other places. I mean, Cedric was successful in Dallas, and Waddle had a nice rookie season, and he was great in Alabama. So it's going to be interesting. So we'll see what happens. I got an upset. Sad being a 26-year-old Cowboy fan, born and raised, diehard fan, but they won their last Super Bowl 2 months before I was born. That does suck. You might have cursed them. You're the one I've been looking for.
Yeah.
I've seen the Super Bowls, and it makes me feel better because I'll tell a little insight because Nicholas, you remind me of it. I moved to Tampa in February of 1996. So if you think back, the last Super Bowl the Cowboys were in was January 1996. So for all these years, have thought maybe I was the jinx because they've never been to a Super Bowl since I moved up to Tampa. But now my man Nicholas, he's finally admitted it's not me, it's him. So we're going to end the curse. You better go do some praying and some soul searching and end this thing so we can get the Super Bowl next year. Nicholas
is one who Eddie Bush the Cowboys.
He could have.
You better go get an exorcism, bro. Come on, Nicholas.
But seriously, on just a little other free agent stuff, we're not going to be on here long, but a couple things. I saw Bobby Wagner's visiting with the Rams. There's mutual interest there. I believe, we signed our Pro Bowl punter. I made a tweet about it, and I said, it was a joke only because there was so much. I saw so many tweets about us not signing a punter, and no disrespect to the punter. He was great. He's a Pro Bowl punter. We need him, but, we signed him, and it was good. We got him done, and I think we got Watkins. I think we signed him. I don't know if it's official, but I saw some tweets that maybe we got him. So we're continuing. Dallas does what they do. They continue to sign their own. I don't know if we're going to get the linebacker. Matthew's been kind of talked about. I don't know, with Curse signing, I don't know if Matthew's going to be in play because, we've kind of re-signed some of our safeties already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it seems like, the Cowboys are doing what they've done in the past, which is sign your own, make a bargain free agent signings to bring outside people and try and build through the draft. And they've been solid in the draft. So hope maybe that formula works. Time will tell. Right now it hasn't worked to what we want, but, trust the process, right?
Hey, you know what? And we're broke. So we really can't get anybody right now. Falcons ain't getting anybody right now.
No, I think the Falcons, what they need to really think about, and I think they've done it. You lose Ryan, Ridley. You kind of move. You got to almost start fresh. And there's a couple quarterbacks. It's not a great quarterback draft, and we'll get into some of that. But maybe they draft a quarterback here and just kind of let him groom and see what happens. I've heard Baker Mayfield. I don't think that would be a fit for either one. I don't think Baker Mayfield would want to go to Atlanta on a rebuilding team. And I really don't think Atlanta wants that. I think they want a clean start, get a young quarterback, and maybe see if they can rebuild that, that program up and start fresh.
Well, and I don't know much about college football. I don't watch it, but I know there's a quarterback from Liberty they were looking at.
Yes.
Georgia natives, that might happen, which is great. We can draft him. That would be perfect. And it looks like, Terry Fontenot said it best. We're going to take it on the chin this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
and it's sad to say, and I, I'd like to say we're going to win some games, but I don't want that mired in mediocrity crap, and then we end up with a crummy draft pick. I mean, it's like this catch-22, right? But then
yeah.
we'll come back next year. We'll have a lot of cap space. We'll be fresh. We'll be invigorated. And we'll be on the shadow of a doubt that in 23 we're coming back. Dirty Bird style.
It could happen, man. It could be quick. One last comment from Nicholas, and and it is, yeah, they could have Coop and Collins if they wanted to keep them. They could have. I don't think it had anything to do with the cap. I think with Cooper, I think there was I've heard rumors. There was maybe some, he was distant in the locker room. He's a quiet guy. In crunch time. Hey, he wasn't on the field sometimes on third and longs, and I said it before. And if you watched our show early in the week, is you got to have some dog. You got to have a dog at receiver. Your number one guy's got to be a dog. He's got to demand the ball, want the ball, and I don't know if that's just not. I don't think it's Coop's personality. There's nothing wrong with it. He's a great receiver. I just think when they were looking at the production versus what they were paying him, I think they just figured it was best to move on. And I think with Collins, I think his time was up. I think he just kind of needed a fresh start. He was hurt all of 2020. He got suspended for 5 games in 2021. He got outplayed by an undrafted free agent that the Cowboys picked up, Terrence Steele. It was outplaying him, and it didn't see much drop off. So that's, when you start seeing that kind of stuff, I think that's why I think they were going to move on no matter what. What I would have liked to see them do, and they haven't done it yet, is go in free agency and get some offensive line help, because that's a weak spot. We've been very lucky. We've been very rich in Dallas to enjoy the Great Wall and have these lines for the last 10 years. But it's taken its toll, and we need to kind of retool that. We need to upgrade that offensive line. I would have liked to see them do something. The Dolphins, they did get, they got Armstead from the Saints. He's had some Pro Bowl seasons, had some injuries, but they signed him to a big deal. That's going to help them. So it seems like the Dolphins are going all in, and that's where I say with the salary cap, I don't know if there is a salary cap, because all these guys, I don't know where all this money's coming from. But it is some ridiculous, and I'm happy for the players. Don't get me wrong. I think players get what they want, but it's just some major contracts. And eventually you got to pay the piper, I think, unless you just keep putting it out, putting it out, and putting it out.
And you know what? We're a prime example having to pay the piper, man. We've been working on credit for the last 2 to 3 years. That's why we are where we are now. But like you said, hey, man, if players can get paid, it's great. They deserve it. I think Rod Martin, when we talked to him a few weeks ago, prime example of the wear and tear that these guys take. They earn that money, man. Right? Again, back to the Dolphins. I still anticipate typical South Florida fans. Hard Rock Stadium is going to be half empty every weekend. I don't care if they're 12 and I don't care how many games they win. I don't care if they win 3 games or 12 games. The stadium will be half empty. Mike knows what I'm talking about.
I think that might show up. There's got to be a buzz. And I'll be down there soon. There's got to be a buzz with this signing and stuff. But we had an interesting question. It's for the Falcons. I don't know if you want to answer it. He said, I'm thinking the Falcons should sign Matilda DeMeo, unbelievable run stopper. I don't know if you have a comment.
You know what?
That.
Actually, for an older player, that might be one of those, like kind of like the Cowboys are talking about, one of those bargain bin specials. I think we got $9 million left. We might be able to get sign Matilda.
Yeah, there you go. I was waiting for a crack because that's one of our friends. We always do inside joke cracks. So, Jimmy was very professional in his response. And Daniel, yes, how about them Cowboys? You living in Vegas? I'm hoping the next time we play there, I want to see that stadium. So I'll be there. I'll be there hyping it up and hanging with Cowboys Nation.
I thought the Matilda question was serious. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was a crack.
Oh man, so we know what we're talking about. We won't share it with the rest, but anyway, we just wanted to jump on here. We appreciate, again, you guys subscribing, you guys following, the comments, interaction. We continue to do this. Our regular show is always going to be live now. We did our first official live one on Monday. Again, if you didn't see it, go back and check it out. It was with Kelly K9. It was all Cowboys. If you're a Cowboys fan, you got to check it out because it was a lot of fun. But we're going to be dropping these videos every now and then when things are happening. We want to jump on and kind of talk about it and hopefully get some interaction. But, you guys continue to follow. 1,000 subscriber, I'll tell you again, it's going to be, and the signing is, I should be getting it in May or June, but it's going to be a Micah Parsons signed photo with Defensive Player of the Year inscription on it. So if you got a Cowboys cave and you want to get up to this standard, you got to start getting those kind of pieces, right, Jimmy? I see Jimmy's got a little work to do. I don't know. I might have to send him some stuff because it only look.
I'm switching spots today. So
graduation is that your graduation frame or something? Your certificate? I don't know what that is up there.
That is my official. So when they redid Madison Square Garden a few years ago, they're selling all sorts of things. So I got a pair of seats and I got the official Steiner Sports thing up there. So, I have things unlike Mike. Now I'm going to say Mike has the best cave I've ever seen, the best set of memorabilia out of anybody I've ever met. But I have my stuff kind of scattered around the house, not in one central location. And we do our normal show. I got nothing behind me, but I figured let me get a little change of scenery today since our producer is not available and Mike is running the show today.
And this is another unpaid vacation.
Unpaid, man. I'm telling you, union job.
He can't. That stuff don't fly.
He ain't getting no union job, man. We don't go with that union shit around here.
No. So anyway, hey, we'll be catching you if something earth-shattering breaks. I'm going to be jumping on, especially if it's Cowboys. But if not, check us out on Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys, if you're Central Time, it's 7. Go down the list. You guys figure it out. But we'll sign off. Jimmy, you got any final thoughts before we sign out?
Danny, kiss my ass.
That's what I want to hear. That's the Jimmy I know. So anyway, peace out, guys. Go Cowboys. We'll talk to you soon.